and I would like to say thank you to everyone who made this launch possible. We will have 2 sessions for today. The first one is the official launch ceremony, which will end at 3 p.m. There will be no questions while we are busy with the launch today, because we have quite a few speakers, so we don't want to disturb them. Then we have planned for a second part, which is going to be your questions and answer session. It will start from 3:30 and then it will end at 5 o'clock. And then if maybe some of you can't stick around for the question and answers, please kindly send us emails. We will try and direct all the questions to the relevant people and email back the answers. Okay, during this session, we will be joined by Honorable Minister Dr. Blade Nzimande, Honorable Minister Stella Abrahams, officials from the government departments and institutions, the chairman of the board of MICT SAMDDRA, the chairman of the board of the SMME Chamber, ICT SMME Chamber, the CEO of the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, representatives from the Innovation Hub, SAMDDRA sponsors representing the industry, Mobicel and Procel, SAMDDRA members and SAMDDRA esteemed guests, members of the electronics industry in general. Thank you so much again for joining us. And I would like to recognize our speakers for the day. The SAMDDRA board member, Mrs. Mpoma Chaka. She will be representing us, SAMDDRA. The chairman of the MICT SAMDDRA, Mr. Simpiwe Tobela. ICT SMME Chamber Board Member, Ms. Joy Matsebula. Minister Stella Abrahams from the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, and Minister Dr. Blade Nzimande from the Department of Higher Education, Science and Innovation. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm not going to waste any more of your time. I would like to ask or to welcome Iwakosa Chairperson to start and welcome us. Thank you. Mr. Chairperson, are you here? Okay, it looks like he is not here. Okay, I will give the stage to anyone who wants to speak on behalf of the SAMDDRA members. Mr. Mark, maybe you can do that for us.
Program Director, let me regularize my position from ICSA. I'm present.
Okay, no problem, sir. You can please kindly welcome us and tell us a little bit about Iwakosa. Thank you.
Program Director.
Yes.
Minister of Communication.
Okay.
Mama Abrahams.
Yes.
Minister of Higher Education. Baba Blade Nzimande.
Yes.
Members of SAMDDRA. Representatives of South African Bureau of Standards. Members of all SETA accreditation bodies and the House at large. My name is Kabelo Kihalotse, the chairperson of ECOWASA, Electronic Waste Corporation of South Africa, from that acronym. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you to the dawn of the era when the traditional business was one of the key.
Apologies, sir, we can hardly hear you. I think the network on your side is a bit.
That was keeping. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you back to the dawn of the era when the children of South Africa, most of them were heading the families. And let me explain how child-headed families manage to keep the candles burning and keep the bread on their table before going to bed. All human beings were born free and equal in dignity and rights. We are therefore endowed with reasons and powers to react to one another in a spirit of Ubuntu. I think you will agree with me, ladies and gentlemen, that during the dawn of the era, when most of the parents left their families to go and fight for the liberation of this country, they left the children with the grannies, and the children had to make sure that they survive at some point. There were collection of bones that were collected by children from different parts of abattoirs. And you remember very well that these bones were taken for manufacturers, for the manufacturing of crockery. In saucers, mugs were sold to make sure that there's food on the table. You remember how children used to collect the bottles and having to get the argon that was used to sew the clothes for But let me dwell now on our today as ECOWASA. We collect the industrial electronic waste. Now, Electronic Waste Corporation of South Africa is an information technology and skill development cooperative that is based in South Africa, Gauteng province. We provide IT solutions such as repairing installations, wiring, and also recycling of electronic communication devices such as laptops, cell phones, tablets, and radios. We stick to one rule that we believe it will immensely save our environment: reduce, reuse, recycle. Our capabilities also include business solutions and skills development programs, which we provide to the youth of Alexander with skills to work with their own hands by learning how to resign. Companies, developers are also coming from this industry. The podcast and streaming developers website developers are from our industry, ECOWASA. And I must say that in many instances, ask the Minister of Communication, Umama Stella Abrahams, her experience when she drives through London Road, the first thing that she would see would be to see the waste pickers. And those waste pickers, most of them, they come from ECOWASA. And ECOWASA on its own, every morning, there are number of people who would be seen in different national roads in South Africa, And as you are quite aware, we are on the ground. We are working, we are existing, we are developing people, we have systems in place, we have database of people who are doing waste recycling of electronic waste. It is indeed one of the things that we would want to mention, that we would like to thank the the Galaxy companies who took it to their shoulders to make sure that through their CSI program, they look at what is needed in this wonderful township, the township with rich history. And the only thing that was going to make us to exist today like we do is because we managed through these companies, they managed to somehow look at ECOWASA as a company that will obviously make sure that we develop the model that will encompass the training of the people, and such was not going to be possible. And we are very happy that in 2016, when ECOWASA was founded, we managed to somehow to be organized and championed by Me Tima. Meshandi Tima, as industrial psychologist, she understood how the industries would definitely flow back to the communities and feed communities. So it was important that capacity building, mentorship, skill transfer was supposed to be the order of the day. And we are happy that program director to tell you this wonderful story, that we are happy that through Tima's progress and initiative, that of course today it's her brainchild, the CETAs, which are into fiber, and we also have the CETA, that are regulatory bodies that managed to also come up with the skill programs that were also managed to be part and parcel of encompassing what South African Bureau of Standard is emphasizing. And we are happy to say that it was important that she managed, I'm referring to Mesha Nditema, to also rope in the chemical CETAs into this whole industry and also bring the insurance CETAs. The reason why there were chemical CETAs in this industry is because the industry faces so many challenges where people or the workers are facing the risk of having to be exposed to chemicals that were somehow used to manufacture the boards. You must remember that these boards, when they are manufactured, we are more likely to experience many things that have to do with, we need people who would understand the chemical compound and the safety of our people when they do this. Now, the recommendations have been coming in and out, but we believe that through the recommendation of health and welfare CETA, it will be very much important that they should also look at monitoring and evaluation, so that we should understand that our people need to be safe at all costs. And the manufacturing, we have to definitely make sure that they are linked to wholesales and retails. The retailers will be able to somehow make sure that they take our products that we manufacture and the products that we repair and resell. They would need a space. But one thing that I would want to emphasize today, and that I would like to bring to your attention, is that ECOWASA, we do not have access to space. We do not have access to space where our people will work, where our people will be able to manufacture more, recycle more, and also have the trainings. We need such space. Now, what is happening now? The people who have the space are the people who have all the capital. Let me now come up to what many people will definitely consider. When we are looking at the education status of our people and skill transfer, the capacity is there, but it was important that the Mayor Ima, she managed to come up with the RPL element where recognition of prior learning was recognized. Remember very well the trainings of Karekude. Bottom of the pyramid of the education, so the bottom of the pyramid a lot through the CETAs by this RPL, recognition of prior learning, that managed today to train over 2,500 facilitators who are today are doing exceptionally well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm talking to you now, I'm glad that Dr. Mabaza is among us. Ndate Mbaza Dumelahle. It's encouraging to say that Dr. Mbaza, as we look at many things that we have seen the EDD TP CETAs coming to make sure that we eight metros, 2 provinces are part and parcel of South Africa. Now let's have black, talented people. They have to, I'm talking about it delays the birth of new entrepreneurs. The black struggles, Black Lives Matters, are stranded for labor force. They take young people who are not even aware of what's happening.
Sorry, sir. We can hardly hear you.
Are being used as in the resources of electronic waste is being transported into trucks to OR Tambo. They are of the world. Now, what are we left? Who are the custodians of the land? But now the problem with the chiefs is that they have hidden behind politicians. They have hidden themselves about the problems, charter, who managed to.
Hello? Sir, we can hardly hear you, and it looks like we are pressed for time here. Hello?
Hello, Vinolia.
Hello?
It's Loiso speaking.
Okay,
yeah. Thank you very much to the speaker. I want to also remind the next speakers that we are pressed for time and we will be eating to the minister's times. So can we please stick to the times that we've allocated? Vinolia, can you please proceed to the next speaker?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. We really learned a lot from that. Can we move to Black IT Forum Chairperson, Mr. Predi Mutupeng? Can you kindly join us, sir? Thank you.
Vinolia, I think he's not here, and I tried to call him. His phone is off. We can go to the next, please. Thanks.
Okay. I would like to move to industry partners. If there's anything they would like to say to us, and the next speaker will be Mr. Loiso. Mr. Loiso, if you can just be ready for us. Thank you.
The industry partner just sent the videos. He's not going to talk. We'll play the video later.
No problem. We will share the videos with you later. Mr. Loiso, are you ready, sir? You can join us and kindly address us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vinolia, Program Director. Just a second. To the Minister, Dr. Blade Nzimande, thank you very much for honoring our invite. Minister, Honorable Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, thank you very much for honoring our invite. The government officials and the institutions, including the chairperson of the MICT SETA, the CEO of the MICT SETA, the CEO of the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, representatives from the Innovation Hub, SAMDDRA sponsors, and the industry at large, ICT SMME Chamber board members, and SAMDDRA members and esteemed guests. Thank you very much for honoring our invite. I am not going to go to give my speech that I had written in full because I'm cognizant of the time, and we have another SAMDDRA board member and ICT SMME Chamber speaker. Suffice to only introduce the idea of SAMDDRA and why we are having the launch that we are having today. I think it goes without saying, or there is, it's common cause, that the penetration of mobile devices has grown exponentially in the past 20 or so years. The one thing that I would like to just point out is the usage and the dependency thereof. For instance, just yesterday, I had put an alarm system at my mother's house at home, and the keypad that you would normally use to arm and disarm the alarm suddenly is now on my phone, and I no longer need to use the keypad or a remote to open or disarm the alarms or the beams. Such is the importance of these devices to our lives, with IoT coming in, looking at 4IR with 5G coming in, the dependency on these mobile devices, which are called smart phones, is increasingly becoming to a point where, yeah, you cannot move without this device. With that happening is that when people have a problem with their smartphones, it's no longer going to be an issue of going and buying a tilili somewhere and move on with your life, because you would be very much dependent on this device. With that, the repair and the maintenance of these devices become more and more important. And there lies in the opportunity to deal with some of the socio-economic issues that we have. Because as the industry grows, there grows an opportunity to also deal with things like your job issue, economic growth, and all these other issues. Unfortunately for us, as South Africans, especially in the rural and the locations, people from other countries have seen the opportunity and have moved very fast in taking advantage of this industry. From the chamber and SAMDDRA, we thought it was very important that we claw back some of this industry for our own people, so that the money that comes from this industry does not end up being remitted to other countries, but the entire value chain is able to benefit South Africans, both from a skills development part, job creation, the growth of the economy, and to deal with other issues like manufacturing and so on and so forth. There's also an intention by SAMDDRA or by the chamber to form a manufacturing part of these mobile devices once the critical mass of skills through SAMDDRA have been built. That being said, we thought that there's a need to have an industry body that will lobby government and other government institutions to assist in terms of, I wouldn't want to use the word regulatory, but let me use it loosely, to regulate the industry to make sure that it benefits South Africans. It can create jobs. It can ensure that there's enough skills in the industry, not to just fix these devices in a manner that, in a professional manner, but to also create enough mass of skills to move into manufacturing these devices locally, or some of the parts locally. This then becomes the birth of SAMDDRA. This is what it's about. It's not just about IT. It's not just about cell phones. It's about socio-economic issues. And we hope you enjoy the program today. Again, thank you very much to everyone who has honored our invite, especially to the ministers, the ICT the MICT CETA chairperson, CEO, Innovation Hub, and Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, and the other dignitaries at large. Thank you very much. I think we can move on to the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Mr. Loyiso. We will move to Mrs. Mpoma Chaka. Mrs. Mpoma Chaka, can you kindly join us? And then the next item on the program will be the sponsor item, which is going to be Mobicel or Procel. So just be ready for us as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Vinolia, for the opportunity. And before I start, I would also like to quickly, in the interest of time, acknowledge all the dignitaries that are with us this afternoon. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister, Dr. Blade Nzimbande, from the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, Minister of Communications, Telecommunications. I would like to also acknowledge the presence of Chairman of the Board of MICT CETA, Mr. Simpiwe Tobela, and the education fraternity that is present with us today. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Chairman of the Board of the ICT SME Chamber, my leader, Mr. Muzi Makaye, and also Mr. Loyiso, who just spoken just before me. And then I would like to acknowledge the presence of all the SAMDDRA sponsors representing the industry. From Mobicel, it's Mr. Ridwan Khan, and then from Procel, it's Mr. Bertus Woodendal. Thank you for joining us today. I would like to also acknowledge the SAMDDRA members and SAMDDRA esteemed guests who are here with us this afternoon, members of the electronic industry in general, my fellow South Africans. I want to say to you all good afternoon and a very warm welcome to this prestigious event. We are very excited as SAMDDRA for the launch and the birth of this initiative. It has been a journey that we have journeyed since April 2020, and today we are so extremely excited that we are now launching. SAMDDRA officially and today. And I would like to say all protocols observed. And my name is Mpoma Chaka, and I will be taking you through the SAMDDRA presentation in the 15 minutes that has been allocated unto me. Thank you very much. I would like to quickly share my screen. If Finolia, you can just allow me to be able to share so that I can quickly share the presentation in the interest of time so that I can be able to go through it quickly.
Okay, Mrs. Machaka, you can share your screen. Thank you.
Okay, dear. Thank you so much. It's giving me an error that says host disabled participant sharing screen. If you can just enable me so that I can be able to share it.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Can I share?
Yes, you can try now.
Okay, it's still giving me an error.
Is it?
Yes.
Let me check what the problem is.
Dr. Mark, can you please assist us so that I can be able to share? Okay, I think I'll be able to share now. It's allowing me to.
Thank you.
Let me just share quickly. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So today I'm just going to go through SAMDDRA and what we're all about. And as it is the launch today, I am very excited and really feel honored to be the one presenting us today on this wonderful journey. Basically, what I'm going to go through with us this afternoon is the vision and the mission of SAMDDRA. Why SAMDDRA? Why is it necessary for us to exist at this appointed time? The background of SAMDDRA, our partnerships, our professional designations that we've already identified that will actually be part of this awesome initiative going forward. The professional accreditations are going to be available for our members and those who will actually be taking part in this initiative. Details around the membership, the incubation program that we are targeting in this next coming few months, and also what SAMDDRA, how SAMDDRA is going to benefit South Africa even as a nation. Just to give context to everybody, this is basically a partnership for SMMEs development and growth with a focus of repairs and distribution as a start. But however, in the future, we will be looking at, the manufacturing part of things, of the electronic communication devices, like our leader has already said. Okay. Our vision basically is to become the leading international industry organization for the repairs and distribution of electronic communication devices, not only in South Africa, but also in the African continent, because such a body is actually non-existent at this point in time. And we have seen a gap that we can fit, perfectly in terms of helping the growth of our economy, even not only as South Africa, but as a continent going forward. Our mission is very simple. We want to grow opportunities for individuals, companies, and institutions, basically, to benefit our local, regional, and international economies towards its sustainable development goals. Why SAMDDRA? Basically, we would like to provide the electronic communication devices industry with a professional body that will be a reference system, a trust system, a useful system to individuals, employers, and the public. I mean, at this point in time, there's a lot of stories around, accountability issues that we are facing within the industry. Basically, SAMDDRA will actually be coming to actually try and regulate and make sure that people actually get the services that they are actually expecting or needing to have at this particular point in time. And, looking at how these cell phones are going to be so critical to our day-to-day lives. So it's actually key and important to have a governing and a regulatory body that will help the public, the individuals as well, who will actually be participating participating in this ecosystem to be able to have a reference, a body whereby they can go to when they need help with these devices. We are looking to support job creation as part of the National Development Plan of the country, and we are trying to ensure the development of skills so that we can be able to have qualified and certified service providers in the market, which is now currently dominated as well by unscrupulous service providers. So we are basically saying we want to protect the public against sub-quality products and services so that we can also improve accountability and customer services in the industry. SAMDDRA project basically comes from the ICT SMME Chamber. It's a child that is born out of this organization. Our leader, the chairman, Mr. Muzi Makaye, is also present with us today. This is, the idea of the board, the idea of the team, and I'm so privileged to be part of such an awesome and amazing and innovative team that we can be able to come up with solutions like this to be able to serve the public. We have already secured a number of partnerships so that we can be able to drive this initiative effectively and making sure that we make the necessary and the required impact that is required in the industry at this point in time. We have a ProCell and Mobicell who are industry partners with us at this point in time, and we have the related government departments and institutions that are already, working, or that will be working together with us to make and realize this dream and make it a reality in our country. There's a number of professional designations that we have identified, but for a lack of a better word and also in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through every one of them. I'll just focus on the individual accreditations that we have identified and how we will actually go about doing this. Basically, all accreditations will be based on the MICT, CETA, and SACO approved NQF levels. Recognition of prior learning as well will be considered, as well as traceable work experience for anybody who would like to become part of this professional body. And then we have companies and institutions who would like to join us, that they actually must be South African based companies, number one, and there must be a 70% SA ownership of each of this organization, making sure that they also employ certified members who are SAMDDRA certified, so that we can be able to drive this industry, transformation agenda that is actually so necessary. I mean, Mr. Lois has already mentioned how people are taking advantage of this lucrative market in South Africa. We are just getting awakened to this awesome opportunities, and we have to grab it by our hands so that we can be able to find and benefit from it as well as a nation. And companies and institutions will be involved in the following areas of businesses. Number one, there will be electronic communication devices repairs, those who will actually focus on education. There will be electronic communication devices distribution, electronic communication devices retail and sales. I mean, we've got so many that are actually in existence, but not such an inclusive, ecosystem, if I can put it that way. We are actually opening up this opportunity so that we can have an include those who have been previously excluded from this market, so that they can be able to participate as well and benefit from the industry. And then lastly, but not least, we will have the electronic communication device services and support. And then we talk about membership programs. There's a number of memberships that we have already identified. It's either you can join SAMDDRA as an individual member, or as a company, or as an institution. All these three membership programs are clearly defined in terms of the requirements for each and every one of them in our website. You are welcome to actually visit our website, www.samdra.za.org. If you can be able to check, and you will actually be able to see exactly what the requirements will be for each of these membership options that we currently have. In the interest of time, I will not be able to go through each and every one of them, because we already have them available in our website. You're welcome to visit so that you can be able to see what the requirements are, so that you can be able to join us as well as we continue on this wonderful journey. And then we have the most exciting part, which is really very close to my heart, the incubation program, whereby we are targeting to actually get at least a minimum number of 1,400 individuals to be trained, certified, and actually be deployed into the industry and function as, productive members within the ecosystem and be able to benefit from the industry as well. We're looking at about 1,400 individual members over a period of 5 years, but we would like to start with about 1,000 candidates in the first year, and thereafter we will actually look into getting about 100, as the years progress. This is to address, the unemployment rate of this country, and the priority obviously will be to the youth, women, and those who are physically challenged. I think the simplified minimum requirements as well will actually be stated on our website so that everybody who is interested to actually join and participate in SAMDDRA can be able to know exactly what they need to do. And you're also welcome to send your emails, questions to info@SAMDDRA so that you can be able to get any information that you are looking for. At the end of this program, there is a session for question and answers. If you do have any questions for us at this point in time concerning, the minimum requirements and so on, you're most welcome to ask so that we can provide you with those answers, which also will be available on our website. How is this going to benefit this country, our beloved country? I'm actually a very patriotic around South Africa. This is I'm a child of the soil as well. And I believe that it is a time for us to actually serve, South Africa as it is duly, right for us to do so. First of all, is better service to the public. We will have a self-regulatory and monitoring of goods and services to the public, meaning that we'll protect the public in terms of making sure that services and products and services that are offered to them from this electronic communication devices are actually to the standard that is actually acceptable for the public to actually be able to run their day-to-day lives. Standardization of professional designations in the electronic communication devices industry, whereby we will give certification and opportunities for people to actually grow, not only economically, but also from a skills perspective. People will be developed, will be grown, and can be able to participate and become, fully fledged productive members of the ecosystem and be able to benefit from it as well economically. We would like to obviously support job creation, and especially in this post-COVID reconstruction period, it is quite vital for us to make sure that we include as many as our people as possible, because this COVID has really ravished a lot of things, and economically it has actually impacted a lot of homes, and this is an opportunity for us to try and rebuild from where we are going forward. Lastly, and but not least, we would like to support the effective inclusion of the previously disadvantaged individuals in this lucrative market. I try to be as quick as I can. I want to thank you all for your time and thank you for listening. And for any questions that you might have, please do not hesitate to ask. We will be available to answer all questions as a panel. We've got a team of well-capable leaders, pioneers, innovators, quite capable people who will be able to answer all our questions this afternoon. I thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Machaka. The next point, or the next thing, the next item will be a video that is from industry partners, Mobicel and Procel. Mr. Mark, please play the video for us. Thank you.
Mobicel is not only investing in its growth and expansion, it also wants to create much-needed employment in South Africa. This new state-of-the-art end-to-end facility will focus on employing young black women.
So at the time of the COVID hitting, we started to notice even more women were really impacted by this. In the tech and the manufacturing industry, just in general, there's not much women employment. And we all understand that the challenges that our ladies face in the job market. We saw this as the perfect opportunity to actually address this. It was a time when a lot of business was closing down. It was a lot of people were losing jobs, but we wanted to actually flip the whole script on its head and go for something more special.
Young women are put through an extensive 3-week training and induction program. Their only requirement is a matric certificate.
So it's not about us looking at a CV and saying, this candidate ticks the boxes, they are now suitable, let's hire. There's so many women out here in South Africa that are passionate and ambitious, but they need this opportunity. Because we are able to train, because we are able to bring them in and equip them with all the skills, we saw this as a great opportunity to make a hard call and say that our new assembly plant is going to be run fully by a woman and Black South African woman.
For these ladies, it's not only a job, it's an opportunity to acquire skills that can empower them for the future.
When I came here, you were inexperienced, like you have no idea what you're gonna do. And this opens a door for you to be like a qualified technician. And working by a place where it's permanently, that's a blessing. Because a lot of girls my age, that's struggling to get a job because you just matriculated and you don't have experience.
This is, well, a great opportunity whereby, now I don't even have to ask, but now I can help myself out. If I could say that, I came here as everybody, but when time went by, I got promoted, and so I believe that I can still grow within this. This is just not opportunity. I feel like we're still gonna grow.
Mobicel has already hired and trained 65 ladies in this assembly plant. The company is planning on employing an additional 50 women over the next few months. Sumitra Nadu, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Thank you so much for the video. It's really great. And before we move to the next speaker, which is our chairman from MICT SETA, Mr. Simpiwe, are you ready, sir? If you are, please kindly join us and speak to us a little bit. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair of the session. And let me start by greeting the Program Director, Honorable Minister, Dr. Blade Nzimande, Honorable Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, SAMDDRA leaders, the leaders of the ICT, SMME sector, the sponsors that are present here, and other distinguished guests. I'm not sure, Program Director, whether you want me to have my video on or you're okay if I proceed just on with the voice.
If you can, please, sir.
Okay, let's do that. Thank you. And as I said, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all protocol observed. And let me start by appreciating the invitation to speak on behalf of the MICT SETA on this momentous occasion of the launch of South African Mobile Device Distribution and Repair Association. The National Development Plan currently enjoins us to work towards building an inclusive and building capabilities economy. We therefore have to collectively work towards realizing the vision set out in the NDP. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought up on us a difficult situation that has disrupted the plans to develop the economy as per the plans. Our government, under His Excellency, the President Cyril Ramaphosa, has developed an economic recovery, reconstruction and recovery plan as a response to this disruption.
The ERRP identifies 6 enablers that are prerequisite to ensuring that the plan is successfully implemented. And these pillars are as follows. It's a resource mobilization, regulatory changes that support policy, environment, and enabling conditions for the ease of doing business. The third is building a capable state. The fourth is social compacting. The sixth is skills development, as well as economic diplomacy and further integration into the African continent. I would argue that skills development out of these enablers is the most important of the enablers, as all other enablers would depend on the repository of the skills that is available. The ERRP, out of the 38 pages of the document, features the word skills 25 times. That is how important skills are for the economy. Further, the ERP makes emphasis on the need to focus on the SMME as part of the reconstruction and recovery by ensuring that SMMEs are supported in all forms so as to meaningfully participate in the economy. The ERP makes a bold statement that confirms the importance of the SMMEs sector. It intends to, I quote, create a focused manufacturing program that will be implemented to build and support SMME participation in the manufacturing value chain for purposes of localization. Amongst other principles in the ERRP set out that intensive SMME participation in the light and fast consumer goods manufacturing. This intention is transformative in nature. It must ensure that as part of localization, SMMEs are prioritized as they have the highest prospects of creating jobs. SITAs are created specifically to build the capabilities through responsive skills development program that are focusing in specific economic sectors. MICT is the most relevant SITA that is close to the ICT sector. And as such, we have to strengthen our relations with the SMME sector in the ICT. We have a memorandum of understanding that has been signed between SAMDDRA and MICT. The challenge is that we need to make this MOU a document that must guide us towards action and response to the intentions of the NTP and recently the ERRP. Discussions with the sector must quickly be undertaken and concluded to ensure that necessary qualifications to ensure that the requisite skills are developed and approved by the MICT and other relevant bodies and stakeholders. To this end, it is expected that the CEO of MICT SITA will prioritize this aspect as part of the MICT SITA and the industry contribution to the ERRP. We need to move with speed and agility. I trust that the skills that we shall develop shall address a number of areas that include the following. 1, innovation. By innovation, it is unacceptable that we import just about everything as if we are unable to innovate and create in this country. 2nd, manufacturing. We must arrive at a point where we are able to manufacture some of the components of the devices that are utilized in this country in the medium term. Thirdly, repairs. We must develop skills and regulate the repairs function and sector in the value chain. This includes the sourcing of parts that are used for repairs. Fourthly, logistics. We have to develop a complete logistics value chain from manufacturing to warehousing and distribution. Fifthly, transformation. As part of this journey, SMMEs must be at the focal point of this process.
These SMMEs must be largely local SMMEs. This will therefore call for a regulatory environment that needs accreditation of SMMEs that are involved in the manufacturing, repairs, and distribution of mobile devices. This calls for examining the policy environment if it is adequate, whilst not encouraging redundancy and inefficiency. Partnerships as a sixth. It is going to be critically important to ensure that large OEMs and other large companies in the sector are encouraged to partner with small and medium enterprises in the industry. We also have to look at partnerships with the TVET colleges that must produce the necessary skills required by the sector. The seventh and the last out of these areas that I wanted to focus on is the environment. There has been reports elsewhere in the continent that foreign companies dump their obsolete ICT components in the African continent. The disposal of the ICT material has serious adverse consequences to the environment. As part of this process of creating job and participation in the value chain, we must also focus on the disposal as we have a responsibility to take care of the environment. It would be amiss of us if we do not mention the fourth industrial revolution that is upon us. Professor Tshilidzi Marwala, in his book, Closing the Gap, The Fourth Industrial Revolution in Africa, makes a point about Africa having been left behind in the first, second, and the third revolution. It is upon leaders in government, private sector, labor, and society in general to ensure that we do not get left behind in this fourth industrial revolution. However, we have to define the meaning and the trajectory of the 4IR depending on our context and realities. Professor Marwala argues that, that for South Africa not to be left behind, we need to be innovative and be ahead of the 4IR curve. In that way, we stand a chance to leapfrog in order to be transformational. Key to the ability of staying ahead of the 4IR curve, I argue, is skills development and innovation. Leapfrogging entails a quick jump that in economic development through harnessing technology. Lastly, I trust that in the near future, all parties involved in the distribution and repairs of mobile devices will be registered and a database be created. Participation of SMMEs that are local will be exponentially increased. Partnerships with foreign-based companies will be one of the key issues in our transformation agenda. Some young minds will be encouraged to be innovative and creative and create new things in the ICT sector. I wish you all the best, and I am sure that you will be able to contribute meaningfully in resolving the vexing triple challenges that are facing the country, being poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Particularly, a particular focus has to be given to the youth, women, and people living with disability. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The next speaker is Ms. Joy Sebenzile Matsebula. Ms. Joy, can you kindly join us? Thank you.
Thank you, Ma Vinolia. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ma.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity afforded to me. Let me recognize the Honorable Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, the Honorable Minister Bongenkosi Ndimande, esteemed guests, and all participants on the webinar. My name again is Sebenzile Matsebula, a board member of the ICT Chamber, and I'm tasked to talk very briefly about the ICT SMME Chamber and to subsequently introduce our keynote speakers. Honorable Ministers and all delegates, allow me to announce that the South African Mobile Devices Distributors and Repairers Association, herewith referred to as SAMDDRA, which is a non-profit company, was born from the vision of the ICT SMME Chamber. As an ICT SMME Chamber, we are committed to offer the highest standards of electronic communication products through support and repair services to the public, amongst our other initiatives, which are all designed to empower South Africans in the ICT space. This is in line with the ICT SMME Chamber's mission to promote a broad-based, radical ICT economic transformation process through access to ICT opportunities for all. As the ICT SMME Chamber, we are passionate about driving optimum access to opportunities for and to an unconstrained participation by ICT SMMEs in the economic development of South Africa. Our strategy is to champion and to reinforce skills development in the ICT space to prepare SMMEs for participation in innovation in the fourth industrial revolution, as alluded to by the previous speaker, which will be enhanced by an expansion to regional and international participation. The ICT SMME Chamber has confidence and appreciation of the responsibility to steer a new course in the electronic communications devices industry through SAMDDRA, its affiliates and partners, for the full benefit of small businesses and for our national economic development. With these few words, it is my honor and privilege to introduce our two keynote speakers. The Honorable Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, who is our current Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies, who will be followed by the Honorable Bonginkosi Nzimande, our Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation. Minister Ndabeni-Abrahams has played a pivotal role to develop ICT convergence and digital transformation, and to ensure that South Africa builds a capable fourth industrial revolution army. Our Honorable Bonginkosi Nzimande has worked tirelessly to ensure that the higher education, science, technology, and innovation spaces of our nation are developed to optimal levels. Indeed, we are privileged for the leadership that these leaders have demonstrated in the development of our nation. Without further ado, I would like now to hand over to the Honorable Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my dear sister and program director. Thank you for affording me an opportunity to come and be part of this important occasion that we get to celebrate as the country. Of course, the first thank you regards go to the organizers of the event and the founders of what we are about to launch today. Indeed, history is made. COVID-19 has really shown us flames, but as it has shown us flames, it has also exposed us to lots of opportunities. I am therefore honored to be participating in this historic event in an era where things are different, the new normal that we refer to. Of course, critical to the work that you have asked me to talk about in terms of the theme is problem solving utilizing digital technologies. At the center of the utilization of the digital technologies that we are talking about is that we all have to live by. We've got to be digital citizens. How we govern our lives, who dictates what time must we go to our bedrooms, the time that we must be at work, it is the technologies that we're talking about. But do we really want them to govern our lives? Or we should be able to utilize these technologies in order to advance our socio-economic initiatives as we look into building a proper livelihood for all. And of course, this, as I said, it comes at a better time, an opportunity that is presented. Earlier on, I made reference to the fact that we are engaging each other in this difficult period, that we have seen many departing on this beautiful earth. May their beautiful souls rest in peace. And to us that are alive, may we not forget to thank the Creator for an opportunity to serve the people that we are serving, but most importantly, to make our own mark. It cannot be correct, Mpepetwa, Budmozi, that we continue to tell the stories of Elon Musk, that we continue to talk about the stories of Nelson Mandela, whilst it is the 21st century. South Africa should be able to produce other heroes and heroines that must take the struggle and whatever that was left by those that came before us to another level. We all partake in the fourth industrial revolution era, which requires all of us to work together. As I saw the invite, I looked into the program too, and I wondered, where's the Minister for Small Businesses? Because she too is a critical stakeholder. I look into the program, I ask myself, where's Minister Patel? Because he has a bigger role to play in terms of making sure that we incentivize the SMMEs, that we seek to give an opportunity to participate meaningfully and effectively in the economy that we are building. At the center of the work that we do, as we encourage all to utilize the digital technologies, is making sure that we don't just become consumers as they have been in the past revolutions. It is high time, Perpetua, as I've listened also to the chairperson of the MICT CETA, the importance of skilling our nation in order for it to be able to produce, and of course, utilizing the resources that we have here at home. As we launch this platform for distributors, it's also important to say, what else can we add? It is great that we get to distribute what has been produced by others, but we've got to graduate to another level. And that, Budmozi, is a challenge that I'm posing to yourselves, to say South Africa and Africa is a great country. We are rich in mineral resources. We are rich in many skills. As you traverse the country and the world, going to the likes of Silicon Valley, when you go there, the people who are leading in these areas, you find that it is the Africans that are in the diaspora. Therefore, it becomes very critical for us to join hands, both from the skilling level, from the market side in terms of my side, but that important innovation and research that Minister Nzimande is responsible for. And of course, I did talk about the Minister for Small Businesses, who has a responsibility to make sure that she harnesses the strategy and our efforts towards the market that we want to serve. And Minister of Trade and Industry, Comrade Patel, ensures that we incentivize yourselves as the platform that is being launched. Because we may be launching this platform, but if we are not giving you enough tools to trade, you are again going to rely on the big companies to do your work. We want you to disrupt the status quo. We are happy that the telecoms industry and the ICT industry in general will commit itself to supporting your endeavors and the efforts that we are driving. South Africa is a country that has a high rate of unemployment, as Stats SA indicates. Amongst young people, it's very bad in Perpetua. And we all have a responsibility as we seek to make our own or to play our own role towards the economic recovery plan of the country, to say this industry must remain the driver to change and turn around our economy. The growing industry, as it has been reported, amongst others, after agriculture and tourism, the ICT industry is doing so well. But if we are not harnessing our efforts and looking into the entire ecosystem for us to be able to create that enabling environment, we will miss out again. This is another challenge to yourselves, to say, don't be comfortable with the status quo. Challenge us as your policymakers, challenge us as a government that has a responsibility to create jobs for the people of South Africa, but also a government that has taken a stance that for us to be able to turn around the economic environment that we find ourselves in, entrepreneurs and innovators must be at the center of that. On the 1st of January, President Ramaphosa, as the chairperson of the AU, he launched the Africa Free Trade Agreement, wherein it's an opportunity for most Africans to participate in. And for this, we recognize that Africa has about 1.3 billion population that needs to be taken digital. In South Africa alone, fellow participants, we have about 11 million students. I'm talking about high school, the DBE sector. I've not gone to the higher level of Minister Nzimande. The 11 million people, learners that we're talking about, should have access to digital technologies. On top of that, as the department, we're driving the program of digital migration, wherein we still have 3.5 million households that need to be migrated and therefore offer the devices that we are talking about. I've not gone to the department in terms of public service, the number of public servants that we have. I know Minister Mchunu at some point reported 11 million plus. I'm not talking about contract workers, and that excludes the municipal workers. All of these people, they use the digital technologies. And now, when they're in a crisis, they shouldn't find themselves having to wait for too long because their devices are sent to whatever province or wherever the person is coming from. It is our responsibility to utilize this platform and the members thereof to make sure that we go closer to where our people are at. We shouldn't shy away as we talk about bridging the digital divide. We shouldn't shy away from going to the townships and going to the rural areas, the people who are mostly affected. Every day we talk about digital divide. We have seen them being digital outcasts, not out of choice, but because of the situation they find themselves in. Of course, at the center of these, as you are saying, you continue to distribute and do the work that you are doing. At the center is ensuring that our people are connected. And if they have to remain connected, it tells you that the quality of the device they should use should be able to allow them to use it for whatever they want to use it. Hence, we talk of the convergence of technologies. And it is in this context that sooner or later, we will be making changes in the industry in terms of the technologies that are being utilized. I'm sure we are all aware that we are living in the 4th industrial revolution era, and therefore the technologies of the 16th century and the 19th century are no longer relevant. And we've got to adapt to that reality. And again, that's a challenge to yourselves. Of course, we have about 22 million people in our country who utilizes smartphones. And of course, we're expecting them to grow above 26 million by 2023. And as I say this, fellow participants, I am aware that we have said in our own plan, come 2030, we want everybody to be connected in South Africa. And of course, a digital society being built, which is why, again, amongst the recommendations of the Presidential Commission on the 4th Industrial Revolution was to look at the human capital development. Hence, I said, I'm happy that Mpepeto is here. I'm happy that the MICT is here, but we left, or if they have not came before, I have not seen them, the MERSITA, which is very critical as you are responsible for the repairs too, which requires at some point some engineering skills. And the MERSITA is to come to the party in order to enhance the work that you are doing, and therefore be able to massify all the skills so that when we engage the likes of Apple, the likes of Samsung and everybody else that we use, they know very well that we're not claiming that this is the work that we can do, but we are capable of doing it. All we require from them is to give a space and an opportunity to showcase that we are capable of. As I talk about that, I said Minister Patel is very critical here. We do have the BBBE ICT Sector Council, which is responsible, amongst other things, in transforming this industry, and therefore we should not leave them outside these things. Because as they engage with the multinationals that are coming to South Africa to do whatever that they do in terms of the trade, they must make sure that they are compliant. And of course, they support the local initiatives like these ones that we have. And those must be agreements that are officialized. And therefore, we should be able to challenge those that think ours is to just to go and buy everything and it must be taken back to be fixed by others, which is why I said this is a great opportunity for us. It's a milestone for the country, not just for the industry, to say, gone are the days whereby if I have a cell phone problem, therefore it must be taken, and then for a number of days, I must be borrowed or given a loan phone because we don't have people that are given that platform in doing so. We appreciate the efforts of government again, hence we have the National Industrial Policy Framework, out of which, as the department, we had made sure that the Industrial Policy Action Plan is accompanied by the master plans. And from our side, we're talking about the Digital Economy Master Plan, which clearly, again, identifies the need for us to deindustrialize the electronics industry. Okay, I said deindustrialize. I don't know if you got that. I didn't say re-industrialize. To deindustrialize it from continuing to produce the old, but re-industrialize it in order to be responsive to the technologies that we are talking about today. As we talk about, so many households have access to smart meters, whether they are water or electricity smart meters. If you go to East London again, in the East London IDZ, we're capable of producing that Mercedes-Benz that some of us can't afford. I spoke about the numbers of the people that require these technologies, that even if they are bought from outside, but they have to be maintained, they have to be distributed, and they have to be repaired here at home. Now, I said, as we look into the entire ecosystem, as we're launching this great platform now, which is a step towards the right direction, we shouldn't shy away from challenging the status quo. As I said earlier, we have to disrupt the disruption, and this is what the fourth industrial revolution is about. And together with the ICT SMME Chamber, we have said we're not gonna be watching or being spectators of the digital economy. Instead, we're gonna push all boundaries, make people uncomfortable in order to make sure that our people are given enough space to participate. The Digital Economy Master Plan, again, goes into detail as we all fixated in the licensing of the spectrum that we have seen challenges around. As we talk about that again, without us looking into the entire spectrum ecosystem and its economics, we are not going to achieve what we want to achieve, which is why I really appreciate the launch of this platform and further challenge to say those towers that are built, the batteries and the storage that goes with it, including certain components that are utilized, must find expression within our industry, and therefore we must have our people participating so that as we repair on the other side, we don't find people not being able to use the technologies because anyway, network is down, because batteries are stolen, and including the high costs that we've got to pay because our industry in terms of the telcos has to make sure that they order all this stuff from outside. And that also has an impact to the people that therefore must use these technologies. As I said, in a quest to build the fourth industrial revolution, a capable army of it, at the center of it is putting people, that human capital development that goes with it. But without resourcing that, the incentives, we would have failed you. The great equipment, because again, we can't be having all these platforms, and when people come to access your services, we find that they take too long, and not because it's out of your own making, but because of the stringent processes that are put there that seek to exclude some of our people. These are the things that we are responsible for regulation and policy making that we should address so that we make sure that this launch is not just one of those launches, but indeed it occupies the space and disrupts the disruption, as I said earlier, but most importantly, giving it an opportunity to the young people, to the women of our country, and of course, we can't leave our men to participate meaningfully and effectively in the digital economy. I will leave the rest to my counterpart, Minister Nzimande, who we've been working together in terms of saying these are the things that we need to do. And of course, when the time is right, during our budget vote, we will concretize the support that we are planning towards the industry as guided by President Ramaphosa in doing that. I am happy that also your dream, as I saw, that the dream is very big, that to create growth opportunities for individuals, companies, and institutions through specialized education, continuous development, and structured professional recognition to benefit local, regional, and international economies and the people towards sustainable development goals. Of course, what else would we be serving the people of South Africa on if we don't enhance and make sure that this dream is realized? Let us work together in ensuring that South Africa occupies its rightful place. Let us work together ensuring that our people really achieve the real economic freedom that we're talking about, not the rhetoric, because we're the ones that understand the economy that we are participating in. And with that, I want to say you are welcome as the battalion towards the building of a capable 4AR army. Let's make everything digital. Thank you once more, Program Director, for the opportunity presented. And I wish you all the best. And as I said earlier, as the ministry and the department, we are committed in ensuring that we will do everything in our best that is within our parameters to make sure that you become successful, including fighting for your space in the markets. That is our responsibility, starting from the government side. Once more, thank you, Program Director, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Minister. We appreciate. We learned a lot from that, and we will welcome Minister Dr. Blade Nzimande as our last speaker. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me start by greeting my cabinet colleague, Ms. Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies, Mafabu, Mr. Mus Makai, SAMDDRA, Board Chairperson and other board members, Dr. Mark Mpasa, the Managing Director, Mr. Simpiwe Tobela, the Chairperson of the MICT SETA, the ICT SMME Chamber Board Member, Ms. Joyce Sevenzi, the other chairpersons and CEOs of our state entities, members of SAMDDRA and partners, my advisors and minister staff, and officials from both my departments of higher education and training and the Department of Science and Innovation. SAMDDRA sponsors, members of the media, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen and comrades, good afternoon. Excuse me. We gather here at an extremely difficult and challenging times in the life of our democracy. And we are also at a moment in our history that at the same time holds great hope and promise. One of my admired German philosophers, and you dare not guess who it is, Karl Marx, once made a very important observation. And I quote, "Men, meaning human beings, make history, but under circumstances not of their own choosing," unquote. We operate in a world that we have inherited, and we have to make it better and leave it a better place. But there's no reason to succumb to this virus that we are facing at the moment, COVID-19. Of course, we've just recently celebrated receipt of the first consignment of COVID-19 vaccines by our president. But we need to warn at the same time. The arrival of the vaccines does not as yet mean that we stop the health protocols to prevent infections, like wearing of masks in public spaces, sanitizing and washing our hands, and physical distancing, amongst others. Indeed, this is a very exciting initiative, and I'm very honored that you have invited me and also my colleague, Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies, as well as the chairperson of the MICT SETA, to launch the South African Mobiles Devices Distributors Repairers Association, under a very important theme of a partnership for SMMEs development and growth, from manufacturing to distribution and usage of electronic communication devices. The whole launch comes at an important time, as I have myself just recently released what we call the National List of Occupations in High Demand in South Africa. The list, for instance, identified about 345 occupations that are in high demand. And these occupations are at both at the high end of the skills as well as intermediate skills levels. What is more critical is that many of these occupations on the list can be associated with key areas and sectors also identified as crucial by government's economic reconstruction and recovery plan, including skills in the digital and for the digital economy, skills in energy and infrastructure development, manufacturing. We also short of data scientists, web developers, computer network technicians, electrical engineers, just to mention a few. It is for this reason, therefore, that I hope SAMDDRA will also take a keen interest in looking into this list of occupations in high demand, especially those that relate to the ICT sector. In launching this list, I called upon our TVET colleges and our universities and our SETAs and private education and training institutions to use the list to inform their course development, curricula, and selection of program offerings. It's therefore important that SAMDDRA must establish, and I invite you, a relationship with our institutions in the higher education, science, and innovation sectors. This will ensure that SAMDDRA is in a better position to support its prospective membership to get practical skills, training, certification, and accreditation of companies, especially the SMEs, as outlined in your founding mission. This intervention will ensure that SAMDDRA participates in the realization, for instance, of what we presented recently in the Cabinet Lekgotla of a skills development strategy and an innovation strategy. We invite you to study these documents soon when we release them, so that you can see how our skills strategy that we are advancing, an innovation strategy, can also be of use to yourselves. With the level of youth unemployment, for instance, which stands at 61.3% as of the third quarter of 2020, and with the single largest cohort affected between the ages of 15 and 24, what we normally refer to as the NEETs, NWET, those who are neither in education, employment, or training. It's very important that in your space, we make sure that this segment of our youth find a place. As Minister Ndabeni-Abrahams was saying, please count on us that we support this very, very important initiative that we are embarking upon. Do not stop knocking at our doors to make sure that we work with you. As government, we believe that ICT plays a key role in facilitating all the objectives of the National Development Plan and those of our own ICT policy white paper that Minister Ndabeni-Abrahams, of course, indirectly touched upon. Furthermore, in response to the Fourth Industrial Revolution and its interruptions, my Department of Science and Innovation has also developed a new policy framework for science, technology, and innovation, which is contained in a new white paper on science, technology, and innovation adopted by Cabinet in 2019. This white paper, what it contains, it's a very important commitment to develop what we call a decadal plan, a 10-year plan between 2020 and 2030 on science, technology, and innovation, which is our vision and concrete plan to realize science, technology, and innovation in our country. As you may know, and also as Minister Ndabeni Abrahams has so eloquently said before me, the 4IR will be driven largely by the convergence of digital, biological, and physical innovations. As the Department of Science and Innovation, we committed ourselves to position science and technology as a catalyst towards faster economic growth, both now and especially over the next 10 years. We are also firmly committed to broaden the participation and mainstream gender, youth, and people living with disabilities in science, technology, innovation, and in skills development. It is for this reason that we should be grateful for President Ramaphosa's visionary leadership of bringing together the Department of Higher Education and Training on the one hand, and the Department of Science and Innovation under a single ministry. The core reason this is why it's important is that it doesn't just ensure greater administrative efficiency, but can be the driver in the post-school knowledge and skills development sector, something that is very important in advancing transformation in society. It therefore becomes critical that SAMDDRA should always maintain close relations with our sector education and training authorities, our SETAs. I'm very pleased that you have invited Mr. Thobela, and I hope this relationship doesn't end up with a guest address and you listening between yourselves and the MICT SETAs, but we are able to actually come up, design, and implement practical and concrete programs of training that will support your business and economic objectives. Currently, as a country, our economy is not growing at a rate that stimulates rapid job creation. Like the rest of the world, we are facing what one may refer to as a fourfold crisis. Firstly, it's COVID-19 pandemic. The second is the deepening economic crisis. The third crisis we are facing relates to the many challenges facing many households, families, and communities who are battling to make ends meet. And fourthly, climate change. In our country, this fourfold crisis has reinforced and is being reinforced by the triple challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. This is the reason I'm emphasizing why continuous collaboration between yourselves and the SETAs and our departments. I agree also with my colleague, Minister Ndabeni Abrahams, that you also need to engage other ministers, our other colleagues, as she has mentioned, so that you are able to be assisted and be supported to achieve what you want to achieve. SAMDDRA must also look at how it can support our initiative of providing laptops to our students, both at our universities and TVET colleges. Through the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, NSFAS, we will now every year be supplying students with these devices and could support students and universities by providing maintenance and parts services. This is SAMDDRA's space. Please do establish relationships between yourselves and the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, who are actually responsible for supplying these devices. But in addition, I would also like to urge SAMDDRA to work closely with institutions in the science and innovation space for purposes of local patents, manufacturing, and production of our own homemade digital devices. All the speakers before me has said this point. I would like to reiterate it. Given the science and innovation infrastructure and potential that we have in our country, there is absolutely no reason why we are still importing virtually all of our digital gadgets and other instruments. There is no reason. This is our opportunity to innovate and to be able to locally manufacture and be able to create jobs and have real homemade stuff. Now, Minister Ndabeni-Abrahams has quoted important statistics just on how many people are using smartphones. That's a huge opportunity for yourselves, obviously, and almost endless opportunities. Frankly, I see no reason why in our villages and townships we do not have thriving places that are repairing cell phones, laptops, and other digital gadgets. This one-way traffic from townships and villages to city centers all the time, to be able to repair this, SAMDDRA, working with us, we must make sure that all right where our people stay, we are able to do these things. We have introduced a system, what we call a national system of innovation in our country. This system, we wanted to make provision so that we are able to harness the latent and explicit innovation capabilities of whole of government and whole of society in addressing the national developmental challenges of our nation. We are in particular as a department supporting social, community, and grassroots innovation and interact with these programs and projects, as my philosophy is that innovation is everywhere. Innovation comes from highly educated people, just like innovation comes from ordinary grassroots people. And also I would like to see SAMDDRA seeking relations with our Center for Artificial Intelligence program and the Data Science for Impact and Decision Enhancement program for your own capacity building. These are projects that we are funding as a department to harness technological convergence and drive the advancement of the South African economy in response to the 4IR, especially working with my colleague Umafab, Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies. It's also important that SAMDDRA, as I have said, establish relations with our universities and our TVET colleges. Let me tell you something. For instance, Huawei, the company, has already established its own academies in more than 30 of our 50 TVET colleges to train people who are going to be maintaining their networks, their systems, and their gadgets. There is no reason why, as SAMDDRA, you can't also be participating. Our TVET colleges are there for you to go and engage them and design training programs that will help to assist you and all those also who have got aspiration to be operating in your area. That's my concept of a TVET college. A TVET college is not a TVET college unless it responds to skills needs and it's able to partner with entrepreneurs, with industry, to be able to provide relevant skills. Robotics, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, data analytics are all central in our white paper. As a matter of fact, I would like to position our Department of Science and Innovation, working together with the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, to play an important role in all these things. In other words, we are saying to you, I must say I'm very impressed by the activity I'm seeing here on the chat. I can see these are people who are active, interacting, and doing all sorts of things, which is very much motivating. And I would just like to say, working together, I would like to see you occupying the entire value chain, not just limiting yourself to where we are starting. It's important we are starting with manufacturing and repairs, but we would like to see you in the entire value chain. That's why this is such an exciting initiative. There are other initiatives, like for instance, University of Stellenbosch has recently launched a School of Data Engineering and Computation for those who want to further their own knowledge. It's very important. In 2018, we established the Medical Devices and Diagnostic Technology Innovation Cluster to exploit the country's high concentration of skills, expertise, and infrastructure in the field of medical devices and diagnostics, which is another area now of medical devices and diagnostics that you should be looking into as SAMDDRA as well. I remain firmly committed to forging a dynamic relationship between yourselves and both my departments and the broader private sector. We have put in place a range of innovations to enhance the technological capabilities of firms and companies. All these opportunities are available to SAMDDRA and its membership. I don't want to take all your time. Let me conclude, because I've got lots of things to say, particularly because I find your initiative so timely and exciting. I would like to indicate that we will be, as I have said, releasing our skills and innovation strategies to the public soon, so that you can familiarize yourselves with them, but also not just to absorb them, to also make your own inputs. It is also important that, therefore, you exploit and also contribute to the opportunities that we are providing as government. If our economy is to recover from the impact of COVID-19 and the lockdowns, you are part of that solution. I have absolutely no doubt about that. And we are convinced as government that SMEs are going to be our major platform for giving opportunities for jobs and sustainable livelihoods for our people. Let me conclude. Don't lower your guard, as I have said. Please keep on keeping safe. Not only does SAMDDRA need you, your country needs you as well, because what we are doing through SAMDDRA is potentially a huge contribution to economic recovery for our country. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister. We really appreciate your speech. And thank you so much to all the speakers for today. Mr. Mark, Dr. Mark Mbasa, can you kindly give us the vote of thanks? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Program Director. For me, it's the easiest part, so I will go as quick as possible because I know we're beyond the time. I would like to really thank the Minister, Dr. Bladen Zimande, Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, all officials from government that attended this event. Would like to thank our partners, thank the industry. We thank MICT CETA for the support, the Innovation Hub, the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller. We thank Procell and Mobicel. We also thank our members, the SAMDDRA members that are making this event so successful. And we thank the ICT SMME members for also helping SAMDDRA to get off the ground. And particularly our special thank you to our chairperson, Mr. Muzi Makai, a big hero, not only for SAMDDRA, but for the ICT SME chamber. We thank you all, and we wish that we all work together towards getting SAMDDRA successful and our economy to recover quicker. 2 sentences from our ministers. The Honorable Minister, Dr. Bladen Zimande, told us we need to repair where we live. That's what we want. Minister Stella told us that we're joining the army of the 4IR era. With that, we thank you all for participating and making this event so successful. We will convene again in 15 minutes time so that the Q&A session can go, because we know many people have questions and the ministers We will engage with them later on, but we will have the Q&A session for the rest of the members, the participants, in 15 minutes time. Thank you all and God bless.
Thank you so much, everyone, and bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Are we on? Okay.
Bye-bye, Dr. Mbasa. No, we can't. We can't.